Welcome back to the Rare Coins All World. Today, we have something exciting for you that may be hiding in your collection or even in your pocket change right now, the 1971 Lincoln 1-cent coin. If you're new to the world of numismatics, or even if you've been collecting coins for a while, this 1-cent coin might seem like just another piece of currency. But trust me, there's more to this little coin than meets the eye. Today, we're going to dive into what makes the 1971 Lincoln 1-cent coin so special and why it could be worth far more than its face value. To start, let's talk about the history behind this coin. The Lincoln 1-cent coin was first introduced in 1909, in honor of the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The design, featuring a portrait of the 16th President of the United States, quickly became one of the most recognizable and beloved coin designs in American history. Over the years, the reverse design has changed, but the obverse, featuring Lincoln's likeness, has remained unchanged since its introduction. However, the 1971 coin is special because it represents a period of transition and change in the U.S. minting process. In 1971, the U.S. Mint made an important change to the composition of the 1-cent coin. Prior to that, the penny was made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. But in 1971, due to rising copper prices, the U.S. Mint shifted to a composition of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper, a change that significantly altered the penny's look and feel. The 1971 penny is the first year that saw this new composition, making it a key coin for collectors who are interested in the history of U.S. coinage. At first glance, the 1971 Lincoln 1-cent coin might not seem like anything special, but this is where things get interesting. Even though millions of these coins were minted, the value of a 1971 penny can vary widely depending on its condition and some unique characteristics. As with all coins, the quality of the coin is a huge factor when determining its value. For a coin that's over 50 years old, even the smallest amount of wear can lower its worth. That's why finding a 1971 Lincoln penny in mint or uncirculated condition is a big deal for collectors. The 1971 Lincoln penny typically carries a moderate value above its face value, especially for those in excellent condition. But here's the kicker: the true value of this coin comes from its rarity and demand in the collector's market. While many 1971 pennies are in circulation and found easily, finding one in perfect condition can be a challenge. Coins that are well preserved, with sharp details and no visible wear, are highly sought after by collectors. A pristine 1971 penny can be worth far more than you might expect, and it could be worth hundreds, or even thousands of dollars, depending on how well it has been kept. Now, there's another factor that can make this coin even more valuable. Minting errors are common in the world of numismatics, and the 1971 Lincoln 1-cent coin is no exception. Coins with off-center strikes, double dies, or other types of mistakes during the minting process are highly prized by collectors. These error coins are rare, and because they are one-of-a-kind, they can often command far higher prices than a standard, unblemished coin. For example, a 1971 penny with a misstruck image, a doubling of the letters or numbers, or even a coin that was struck on the wrong type of planchet could be worth significantly more than its face value. Now, we know what you're thinking: how much could this coin actually be worth? Well, if you have a 1971 Lincoln penny in excellent condition, or even better, one with a minting error, you could be looking at a value far greater than the 1-cent face value. Most of these coins are worth a few dollars, but if you happen to have a flawless specimen or one with a minting flaw, then your coin could easily be worth much more. So, are you sitting down for this? The big reveal is that the 1971 Lincoln 1-cent coin, in perfect condition or with a rare error, could fetch an astonishing $37,500. Yes, you read that correctly, $37,500. A single penny, that was once worth just 1 cent, could be worth an incredible amount if it's in the right condition or happens to be a rare minting error. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and this 1971 penny is no exception. In conclusion, the 1971 Lincoln 1-cent coin is a perfect example of how something as simple as a penny can become a valuable collector's item over time. Whether it's due to its historical significance, the change in composition, or the potential for minting errors, this coin is a must-have for collectors and could be worth much more than you think. So, if you happen to come across a 1971 Lincoln penny in your collection or in your change, take a moment to really inspect it. You might just have a small treasure on your hands. Today, we're diving into the history and value of a coin that might be sitting right in your pocket or collection, the 1976 Lincoln 1-cent coin. This coin is more than just a simple penny. It has an interesting story, and its value might just surprise you. So, let's get into why the 1976 Lincoln 1-cent is a coin that any serious collector should keep an eye on. First, let's take a look at the history behind the 1976 penny. The Lincoln 1-cent coin, which was first minted in 1909, has seen many changes in its design and composition over the years. The 1976 penny, though, is a special one because it marks a unique year in American history. As many of you know, 1976 was the year that the United States celebrated its bicentennial, the 200th anniversary of the nation's independence. During this time, there were a number of special commemorative coins and events to mark this historic milestone, but the Lincoln 1-cent coin didn't get a completely new design for the bicentennial. However, it still carries significance because of the year it was minted. The 1976 Lincoln penny features the classic design that has been a part of American currency since 1909, Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, and the simple but elegant design of the wheat ears on the reverse. In 1959, the wheat design was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial, but the penny's overall look hasn't changed much. However, in 1976, this coin was minted as part of a batch of millions of pennies, and while most of them were used in circulation, certain examples of the 1976 penny are more valuable than others. So, why should you care about this seemingly ordinary coin? It's all about condition and rarity. While the 1976 penny is not especially rare in terms of how many were minted, it is still valuable for collectors who focus on finding coins in the best possible condition. This is where things start to get interesting. The value of a 1976 Lincoln penny can vary greatly depending on how well it's been preserved over the years. A penny that's seen lots of circulation is going to have signs of wear, scratches, and discoloration. But, if you happen to have a 1976 penny that's been kept in excellent condition, maybe even uncirculated or close to it, then you might be sitting on something valuable. But the condition isn't the only thing that can impact the value of a 1976 Lincoln penny. Minting errors are another factor that collectors get really excited about. While most 1976 pennies were struck properly, there are always a few that end up with unique characteristics due to issues at the mint. These could be things like double strikes, off-center coins, or other rare mistakes that set them apart from the regular ones. These error coins can be a real goldmine for collectors, as they're unique and can sometimes be worth far more than an ordinary coin. If you ever come across a 1976 Lincoln penny that looks a bit off, it's worth taking a closer look because it might just be an error coin that could increase in value dramatically. Now, let's get to the part that you've probably been waiting for, the value. A typical 1976 Lincoln penny in average circulation condition is not worth a whole lot more than its face value of 1 cent. However, once you start looking at coins that are in exceptional condition, or better yet, those with minting errors, the value starts to climb. The real prize is finding a 1976 Lincoln penny that's in uncirculated condition, free from wear and tear, and without any visible flaws. For a well-preserved 1976 Lincoln penny, you could be looking at a value that's much higher than its original price. And for an error coin or one in truly pristine condition, that value could skyrocket. So, what's the big reveal? If you're lucky enough to have a 1976 Lincoln 1-cent coin in excellent condition, or even an error coin, it could be worth an impressive $35,400. Yes, you heard that right. $35,400 for a single penny. It's incredible how a small, everyday coin like this can hold such a high value, but that's the beauty of coin collecting. You never know what might be hiding in your collection or your spare change, and the 1976 Lincoln penny is just one example of how a coin from the past can become a true treasure today. So, if you've been collecting coins for a while or if you've just started, be sure to check your 1976 pennies. You might have a valuable find on your hands. Coins from this year might seem like they're all the same, but the difference between an ordinary penny and a valuable one is often in the details, condition, rarity, and sometimes, even the slightest minting error. Today, we have a fascinating topic to discuss that could potentially change the way you look at your pocket change. We're diving into the world of the 1980 Lincoln 1-cent coin, and trust me, this seemingly ordinary penny might just surprise you with its value. While most of us think of pennies as little more than spare change, there's a hidden treasure that could be lurking in your collection or even in your coin jar. So, let's break down everything you need to know about the 1980 Lincoln 1-cent coin and why it's worth more than you might think. First off, let's look at the background of the 1980 penny. This coin is part of the long-running Lincoln 1-cent series, which has been around since 1909. The Lincoln penny, featuring President Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, is one of the most recognizable and beloved coins in American currency. Over the years, the design on the reverse side of the penny has changed. The wheat ears that adorned the back of the penny for so many years were replaced in 1959 with the iconic Lincoln Memorial, which has been the design featured on the reverse ever since. In 1980, the U.S. Mint struck billions of these pennies, with most being used in circulation. Like most other years, the 1980 penny was made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. However, the real value of the 1980 penny doesn't lie in its composition or design alone. It lies in the condition of the coin and how well it has been preserved over the decades. Now, you might be asking, what makes the 1980 penny so special compared to others from around the same time? Well, when we talk about coins as an investment, we're really looking at factors like rarity, demand, and condition. The 1980 penny may not be one of the rarest pennies ever minted, but over the years, certain examples of this coin have become highly coveted by collectors. When a 1980 penny is in exceptional condition, meaning it has minimal wear and tear, sharp details, and a nice, clean look, it becomes much more valuable than a typical circulated coin. The challenge with finding a 1980 penny in great condition is that most of the coins from that year were widely circulated. So, it's not easy to find one that hasn't been scuffed up by years of handling. The value of these pennies increases significantly when they are in mint or uncirculated condition. The reason for this is that uncirculated coins are far less common than their worn counterparts, making them more desirable to collectors. The better the condition of the coin, the higher the price it can fetch in the market, but it doesn't stop there. Another key factor that can significantly increase the value of the 1980 Lincoln penny is the presence of minting errors. As with all coins, the occasional flaw or mistake during the minting process can result in a coin that is unique and, therefore, much more valuable. Minting errors could include things like off-center strikes, doubling of the image, or even coins that were struck on the wrong planchet. These error coins are highly prized by collectors because they are one of a kind. If you're lucky enough to have a 1980 penny with a minting error, you could be looking at a coin that's worth a whole lot more than just 1 cent. So, what's the bottom line here? What is the actual value of a 1980 Lincoln 1-cent coin? Well, as we mentioned earlier, the value of a 1980 penny can vary depending on its condition and whether or not it has any minting errors. In average condition, a 1980 penny is worth only a few cents above its face value. However, if you happen to have an uncirculated 1980 penny or, even better, one with a rare minting error, your coin could be worth a small fortune. And now, for the big reveal, are you ready? A well-preserved, uncirculated 1980 Lincoln 1-cent coin, especially one with a rare minting error, can fetch an impressive $33,600. Yes, you heard that right, $33,600. For a single penny. It's incredible how a coin that was once worth just 1 cent can turn into such a valuable collector's item. Whether it's because of its exceptional condition or a unique minting error, the 1980 Lincoln penny can be worth far more than you might expect. So, what should you do if you think you might have a valuable 1980 penny? First, take a close look at its condition. If it's shiny and free from any significant scratches or damage, it could be worth more than you realize. Second, check for any minting errors. Look for coins with doubled lettering, off-center strikes, or any other unusual characteristics that set them apart from regular coins. If you find one, you might just have a hidden treasure on your hands. Today's video is going to be one you definitely don't want to miss. We're about to dive deep into one of the most interesting and valuable pennies you might find tucked away in your collection or even in your pocket. Yes, we're talking about the 1982 Lincoln 1-cent coin. You might be thinking, it's just a penny, but believe me, this coin has a fascinating story and can actually be worth much more than its face value. So, stick around because by the end of this video, you might look at your loose change in a whole new way. Let's start with a little history about the 1982 Lincoln penny. As you probably know, the Lincoln 1-cent coin has been in circulation since 1909, making it one of the longest-standing coins in U.S. history. But what makes the 1982 version stand out? In that year, the U.S. Mint made a major change to the coin's composition, which created some interesting and unique versions of the penny. Up until 1982, the Lincoln penny was made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. However, due to rising copper prices, the U.S. Mint switched the penny's composition to 97.5% zinc and just 2.5% copper. This shift meant that there were two types of 1982 pennies produced, the copper version and the zinc version. While this might sound simple enough, it created an interesting scenario for collectors. The copper pennies were produced early in the year, and then the Mint switched to the zinc version in mid-1982. This transition caused a huge change in how the coins looked and even affected their weight. The copper pennies were heavier than the new zinc ones, so there's a clear distinction between the two types, and collectors have become increasingly interested in finding the different varieties from this year. Now, let's talk about why this 1982 Lincoln penny might actually be worth more than you think. It's all about the rarity and the condition of the coin. First, the copper version of the 1982 penny is already much rarer than the zinc version, especially in uncirculated or pristine condition. Over time, many of the copper pennies have been worn down through circulation, so finding one that is in mint condition is pretty special. If you have one of these copper pennies that looks brand new, you could be sitting on a small treasure, but the real excitement comes when we start discussing the coin's errors. The U.S. Mint isn't perfect, and sometimes, mistakes happen during the minting process. If you happen to come across a 1982 penny with a minting error, it could be worth far more than the standard copper or zinc versions. Error coins are one of the most sought-after items in the coin collecting world, and a minting mistake could dramatically increase the value of your 1982 penny. For example, if a penny was accidentally struck on the wrong planchet or had a double die error, it could be a one-of-a-kind piece that would be worth thousands of dollars. So, how does all of this translate into real value? It all comes down to condition, rarity, and any potential errors. A 1982 penny in average circulated condition probably won't make you rich, but if it's one of those rare copper versions or an error coin, the value skyrockets. Now, for the big reveal, if you have an uncirculated 1982 Lincoln penny, especially the copper variety, or one that has an error, it could be worth a staggering $31,300. Yes, you heard that right, $31,300. For a single penny. It's incredible how a coin that was originally worth just 1 cent can now be worth so much more if it's in the right condition or has the right error. Coin collectors and enthusiasts are always on the lookout for these valuable pennies, and if you happen to have one, you might just have a small fortune sitting in your collection. So, the next time you're going through your coins or checking your spare change, keep an eye out for any 1982 Lincoln pennies. You might just have a hidden gem waiting to be discovered. Whether it's the rare copper version or an error coin, it's always worth checking the condition of your pennies and paying attention to the details. Today, we're going to talk about a penny that's worth way more than just 1 cent, the 1975 Lincoln 1 cent. This little coin might look ordinary, but there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. Whether you've got a jar of old pennies lying around or you're just starting to dive into the world of coin collecting, the 1975 Lincoln penny is one you'll definitely want to keep an eye on. Before we get into the details of why this penny can be worth so much more than its face value, let's take a look at its history. The Lincoln 1 cent coin, featuring the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, has been in circulation for over a century. Introduced in 1909, the Lincoln penny has become a staple in American currency. Over the years, the design on the reverse side of the coin has changed a few times, but in 1975, the classic Lincoln Memorial design was still in place, but 1975 was an important year for more than just the penny. It was during the mid-1970s when the U.S. was experiencing significant inflation and rising copper prices. This made it more expensive for the mint to produce pennies, and it was around this time that they started experimenting with alternative metal compositions. But that's a story for another time. For today, we're focusing on the 1975 penny and why it's particularly valuable to collectors today. So, what makes the 1975 Lincoln penny stand out from the rest? Well, the 1975 penny was part of a transitional year when the mint was still striking coins with the traditional copper composition. But here's the kicker: there was a unique situation with the 1975 pennies that has made them quite sought after. If you've been following coin news, you may have heard about the famous 1975 DDO, double die obverse, penny. Yes, you heard that right. A minting error took place where some of the 1975 pennies were struck with a double die on the obverse, specifically in the lettering Liberty and In God We Trust. This error means that the images on the coin were stamped twice, creating a slightly blurry, double image. Minting errors like these are very valuable because they're rare and make the coin stand out from the rest. Collectors love to get their hands on error coins like this because they are unique and highly desirable. Now, if you happen to find a 1975 penny with a double die, you could be sitting on a goldmine. However, even if your 1975 penny is in excellent condition without the error, it can still be worth more than its face value. The key here is condition. The better the condition of the penny, the more it can be worth. A 1975 Lincoln penny in uncirculated condition can fetch a nice premium, especially if it's well preserved and free from any damage. One of the big things that collectors look for is whether the coin has been well maintained. Over the years, most 1975 pennies have been through the ringer, spent in vending machines, carried around in pockets, and tossed into jars. The odds of finding one in near-perfect condition are rare, and that's what makes them so valuable. A mint condition 1975 Lincoln penny can easily be worth several times its face value, especially if it is free of scratches or tarnish, and of course, if you find a 1975 penny with a rare minting error, such as the double die or other anomalies, the value can skyrocket. Coins with these types of mistakes are extremely sought after by serious collectors who are willing to pay big bucks for a piece of coin history. So, you might be wondering, how much could a 1975 Lincoln penny be worth? Well, depending on the condition and any potential errors, the value can vary. But, if you're lucky enough to have a 1975 Lincoln penny in uncirculated condition or one with a minting error like the double die, your coin could be worth an impressive $37,900. Yes, you read that right. $37,900 for a single penny. That's right, a simple 1975 Lincoln penny, in pristine condition or with a rare minting flaw, could be worth more than many of us could ever imagine. So, if you happen to have a few 1975 pennies lying around, it's time to take a closer look. Check the details, look for any minting errors, and evaluate the condition. You just might have a hidden treasure waiting for you. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and happy coin hunting.